people throughout the generations. All righty. Does anyone have any changes, additions, corrections, whatever for the agenda?
It doesn't, I don't know if it needs to be a change to the agenda or not. We probably need a board action if we're going to accept the AmeriCorps. Because it wasn't in our budget, so the expense needs to be approved. So at some point we should talk about that.
So, except the AmeriCorps, what do you call it, contract?
Award.
Okay. All righty. Well, then the first thing that I have on here are NRCS updates. So I think I look to the screen. Alexia, do you have things to update us about?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Kind of.
you're a little shaky of voice, but yes. Try again.
I'm a little what?
It's a little choppy. I think your reception might not be 100% or something.
Right.
Or ours.
Passing down.
It's
Pretty fine, because I am looking for a spot to pull over.
Are you also driving back from Colchester?
Yes. I'm looking for a spot to pull over.
It's better now.
It is, but do you want to
okay. Well, if you can hear me now, I'm gonna talk and then still find a place to pull over.
Okay, sounds good.
But if you can hear me now, that's great. So NRCS is trugging along, forging forward. We are assessing the applications that came in through our application timeline in August. So those are being reviewed and looked through to assess and, work with those producers. I know that there are some items that, or some applications that are being assessed that district is helping with this. Can you all still hear me? I did just pull over.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. So working through applications and assessing those. Space looks like no, I can't really hear. Am I reading that?
It's a little choppy.
Okay. To me, I'll see if I can find another spot.
Okay, someplace where you're safe. First priority.
Yes.
Do we want to skip to something else and come back to her, or?
Well,
I said if you could just come back to me.
Okay, we will do that. All right, then the second item I see here is the financial reports, FY25.
Okay. So hopefully everyone got these, sent them out a couple days ago. A couple of just structural things about this. The transition from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online has made things more complicated than usual, and some things are harder to make look the way we want them to look on the report. I'll give you an example. Like if you look at the balance sheet, the profit and loss, which is on page 16, you'll see actually on page 17, there's like personnel. There are wages under payroll expenses, and then there's also salaries and wages in a different place. Those should be the same thing. And it has to do with the fact that in desktop, they're mapped one way, and in online, they're mapped a different way. So Dave and I met a couple of times last week, and his recommendation was, we're getting these things straightened out moving forward, but that it was not a great use of time to try to do journal entries and move all these things around and try to make it look exactly the way we want it to in this report. So I think it's all like reflected accurately, especially if you look at the budget to actual. But just if there are things that look like that, that's why. And then Dave's recommendation was that we don't do profit and loss by class. I know that that's a document that most folks have kind of scratched their head and not know what to make of it. And he felt like that's just a level of detail that's not all that useful. So it's not in here. The profit and loss is just one unified profit and loss. And then there is a top sheet where I tried to provide some just basic notes. I don't know if folks had time to look at that. Very useful. Are there questions?
Am I correct that these couple of blank pages are just a goof?
Tried to get them.
That's all right. The joys of any new program.
In the middle of the first page, straight after the heading income, the
Yes.
first line, this represents 93% of our project income.
Sorry, it should be projected.
Projected.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good catch.
Good question.
I thought overall, it's kind of hard in the middle of it sometimes to tell where we are in relation to our budget. And then especially because we had some income that needed to be deferred, that we had received. So it was on the books, but we knew we were really going to spend it in FY26, and Dave showed me how to do that. So going forward, we'll be able to do that more accurately. So once we sort of got all that done and we're able to actually see what our balance sheet looked like and our profit and loss, I was kind of pleasantly surprised that, especially since we purchased a $35,000 field truck this year out of retained earnings, we didn't have a grant for that we still finished about 20,000 in the black, which suggests that our billable rate and indirect rates are still sufficient. They're still covering all of our overhead.
Were our lab fees really 950% of projected?
They were.
Good.
I think it's good news.
Yeah.
Well, it's good in terms of we doing more of them, totally,
Yeah.
but
Yep. And
Nice.
in the previous, we had an RCPP that VACD held that paid for nutrient management planning assistance in the past. And the way that worked would be if we provided NMP support, we would then bill a VACD for all of it. They didn't like that very much. No one liked the amount of paperwork that was involved there. So now that's rolled into our Egg CWIP award, which is, we get paid a flat amount of money. And so no matter how many soil samples we take or how many farms we assist with an NMP, we still get paid the same thing. Which we've had some occasional conversations about, is that a problem? Do we need to look at capping how many soil samples we'll do for a farm? But we also think it's a really valuable service, and it's helped us get out
totally.
to farms that otherwise maybe wouldn't be excited about having us visit them.
Becky Madden did say she can help cover the cost.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that'd be great.
and who are they?
Becky Madden is UVM extension.
Thank you.
She and I are working on a NMP that's a little unique.
It's
Yeah.
what, small veg, right? Or
It's large.
large veg, sorry.
You said NMP?
Nutrient management plan.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of a different one. Becky Madden created, so NMPs are made for large dairies. This veg operation needs one, but doesn't fit the program. So she created one just for veg, but it's a bit, it's a bit of a time.
And when VACD still had their grant to pay for this work, that operation requested an NMP back then. And VACD said no. They said that the system's simply not well set up for this kind of operation, so just don't do it. So I'm very pleased that we've moved to a point where we can assist that.
It would be
Good.
cool
That's
if
great.
there was more of a program for that.
Yeah, no, Becky did create one that is for veg. This
Mhm.
farmer needs a little bit more hand holding.
Mm.
So we're like combining the two to do something more unique. But yeah.
Something beeping.
Bookkeeping was 6,000, over 6,000 rather than 2,000. Is that a one-off because of
Because we paid for
Online?
desktop and online in the same year.
Oh, okay. So that's not going to be what it costs from now on. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that was sticker shock for me too.
So, and you're doing what, 10 times as much soil sampling as you thought you were doing? Wow. That's
We're
pretty good.
paying for it. Well, yes, May also did.
Oh, you don't actually do it?
No,
we do it. And then we also pay for the samples. If it's,
Many
right.
acres
Yes, yeah.
per one farm.
Yeah, so if it's for a nutrient management plan, we will pay for the tests. Otherwise, we do not pay.
but we still provide the assisted labor.
Right. You don't pay Vermont unemployment tax.
Correct. No, we do pay Vermont unemployment tax.
Oh, I thought.
We don't pay federal unemployment tax. We are
Oh,
exempt
oh, I
from
thought
food.
I saw Vermont. Was zero. Oops, I must have got that wrong.
Well, or it could be listed wrong, so let me know. Typically that shows up under, so our chart of accounts, which is basically the types of expenses we recognize, on the budget to actual. This chart of accounts was what council gave us because it's what we use to report to them every year. Dave is not pleased with this chart of accounts and thinks that it's complex and could be simpler. And so I think what we're working on is can we simplify it without losing the ease of when I need to fill out this many page spreadsheet to council, I don't want to be doing a bunch of math on the calculator, which is what I used to do. I want to be able to just transfer information line from line.
Changing account lines is a bit of a big.
Yeah. So that line is unemployment and workers' compensation. They're lumped. They're not unemployment tax. Yeah, so it's somewhere else. It's
This is close to my heart. I spent hours a quarter doing this. And I paid, after hours of work, I owed them $2.25 for a Vermont theatre company. So that's why I looked at that line.
yeah. Um. These are liabilities, right?
Oh,
So these are amounts.
so that's because you're up to date with it.
That would be my best guess.
That makes sense.
I've noticed, sorry, in QuickBooks Online, it embeds that under Vermont income tax, which doesn't make any sense at all. But I think that's what, and of course on desktop, it didn't.
Right.
I forget, when does the fiscal year start?
July 1,
July.
so July 1 to June 30. I also included the budget to actual with the quarterly breakdown because we never did a quarter four report. So this serves the quarter four report too. As you can see, quarter four was expensive. We spent $210,000 and lost $64,000.
You thought you got the truck?
Yeah, that part of that was the truck. Also the greeter programs and the seasonal employees all get up and running in the last quarter. And some of that we won't get paid back for till later. So, but it is an expensive quarter for us, and that's why we were having some cash flow challenges.
Okay, in that regard, is there anything that you want to point out to us as a concern?
No. I think this will continue to get better and cleaner, thanks to Dave's help. So I think by like the quarter one report, since it'll all be in one system,
Right.
should look a lot better. And then going forward, they'll keep getting better. We're working on changing our class project structure. Currently, we've used the class structure to track expenses by project because that's what I inherited, and it's the only thing I knew how to do.
Yeah.
And Dave recommends that you use projects. So you use customers to track funders, projects to track grants, and classes to track specific activities. And that allows you, so like, because we have situations where one funder pays for lots of work, and then we have the reverse where multiple funders pay for example, a greeter program.
Right.
And we can't reflect that in our current statements
I
with the
see.
structure that we have. So, but Dave has sort of cautioned that because I'm like, I want to move it all over immediately because I want this to all be right. And
Right.
Dave has said, let's go slowly and pick a couple of grants and make sure we like the way it works before we scale it up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, but your sense is it's moving along, and by the next time it's going to be easier and
Yeah.
ultimately will save you and also you some time and effort.
Yeah, so one of the things we'll be doing is, I didn't even know this was a thing, but you can upload your budget into QuickBooks. But and then when you need to run a budget to actual, it's just a matter of clicking produce budget to actual and done. You don't have to
Oh,
fit.
that'll be nice.
Yeah. Because I do this manually, transferring it all to a spreadsheet, and no matter how carefully I do it, there's always some discrepancy of like, oh, it's $73 off. And I have to go back through and check all my math and figure out what got categorized incorrectly or what got lost in the transaction.
Right.
Yeah. We shouldn't be doing that. That's not the most efficient way to operate.
Anybody else have any concerns, questions about the financial report summary? All right. Before we go on to the policies, Felixia, are you somewhere?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. So,
Is it any better?
yes,
Yeah.
actually it is. That's much clearer. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna stay right here. Okay. So good evening. I apologize for not you all not being able to hear me earlier, but I am filling in for Olivia today. Right now NRCS is just forging forward, assessing applications that came through. Applications are being assessed, field visits are being made in preparation for planning and ranking for FY26. I know there was some information that Olivia was going to talk to you all about for FY25 with your local fund pool. Did you all ever have that discussion already?
What's the
Again, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
Probably not then.
Oh, okay. So just basically what was funded. So in 2025, you had some applications that were in your local fund pools.
Yeah.
There were 4 equip applications that were funded outside of the local fund pool, but they were, within the local fund pool as well. You had 15 submitted into your small scale, and 4 of those funded with the amount of funds that was in that local fund pool. In your forestry, well, sorry, if I go back to that, some of the top practices in the small scale for that were the high tunnel. So you had 5 high tunnel systems. Are you able to still hear me or no?
Yes.
Okay, great. You have 5 high tunnel systems, some of them with like the water well, the pumping plant, irrigation, livestock pipelines. Some of them had some pasture and hay planting, cover crop, and mulching. So those were some of the practices that were included in that small scale for those funded applications. And then in the forestry, you had 15 submitted as well in the forestry ones. With the funding that was available, it was 2 funded out of that. And yeah, and that took up the 160,000 there, or a little over 160,000 for those 2 funded applications, with brush management being the top there. And then you had a little bit of wildlife habitat site prep, wildlife habitat planting, access control, early successional habitat, and forest trails and landing.
Were any of the applications to the local fund pool that weren't funded through the fund pool funded through any other funding pools?
Yeah, so you did have some that were able to get funded in other fund pools. So you had 4 that ended up being able to be funded through Equip.
Okay. So it does sound like there's
Um,
some need for forest management assistance that we're not meeting, correct?
right, and that's what you have for the proposals again for these FY26. So yeah, there's definitely still the need to be addressed there. You did have 5 CSPs, 2 RCPPs as well.
Cool. I don't
And
quite
then
understand.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't, Felixia, what do you mean you mean that we're funded in Windham County total?
Correct, that were funded in Windham County total. Yes, sorry about that. Yeah. And then she wanted to provide the 2024 numbers. I'm not sure that you had before.
I found those. I'm sorry. I
You did
apologize.
find those.
I didn't realize.
Okay.
I think there's miscommunication between me and Olivia. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. So if you ever do need those 2024 numbers, I can provide those, or if you need any other years, we can do a year review. I am working with the DCs to just talk about a format to provide all of the districts and their boards with kind of a year in review type of situation, but we are waiting on some of that information to come through from programs before we finalize all of those numbers. But that's just kind of a quick and dirty update on those 2025 numbers.
Okay, great.
A couple of personnel updates. So, not sure if you are aware that we went through a process that wasn't our normal hiring process, but it was critical vacancies where we were allowed to put out critical vacancy positions that allow for lateral movements for folks in other states and other areas. So we were able to fill behind the other Emma for Brattleboro. So that person did apply for a critical vacancy. We were able to do that. There's still some final processing, but in all actuality, this person is on board. They will not be in the office for at least another week as they're making the transition. So Olivia is coordinating with that person and their supervisor, their previous supervisor, for finalizing that transition. But thankful that we will have a new employee that will be able to start there in Brattleboro and fill behind our other Emma.
Cool.
Um, there was something else I was going to tell you. I thought personnel wise, but anyway, if it comes back to me, I'll say that. Additionally, yep, Corey, go ahead.
At some point, there was a discussion about somebody with forestry that might be coming to Windham County. Is that still a thing, or do we not know? Or
So this person that is coming does have some forestry background. So not necessarily a forester, but has some forestry background, some forestry experience. That was also one of the kind of the top reasons that we were hoping for that, with a little bit to help out with that workload.
Great.
Oh, the other personnel, Arrow. So working through the process for access for Arrow. This because of has been a change in the process, and because Arrow was just doing the background check, it was a little bit different, but it is moving forward. Just needed to complete the paperwork that was necessary for our M&S team to process. So moving forward with that should be good to go in the system for now. It's just working its way in the system, and then we'll let you know once that's finalized.
Great.
And then the last thing that I have is, I mentioned this during a DM meeting that we would be updating the MOUs and UCAs into a new template. I am working on that and hope to join you all for I think it's your last meeting in September, potentially.
okay.
If not, it'll be early October for that. Where we'll share the new template with the additional information, and then I'll offer an opportunity for me to come and review those MOUs and UCAs and their changes with you and your boards. So we'll offer that information. There will be an SOP that will be added as well for like partner onboarding with your district staff, so that is clear for everybody. So in situations where you're hiring a new person to come in, what does that actually look like? What is the process that's clear? Most times you're just saying, hey, Olivia, we're looking to hire somebody, right? And that's been okay. But in some instances, it just hasn't been clear for some others as they are new in building and growing their teams. So
Right.
wanting to make sure that that's clear and added and everyone knows what that looks like.
So previously, we kind of heard that 5 seats was going to become standardized.
Yep.
Is there, I guess I'm curious what that's going to look like, especially if there is a need for districts to take on certain work that they haven't done in the past.
Sure. So it is still looking like um, 5 spaces within the across the board, which was discussed. Travis is still looking at that being the number. However, when we share these new templates and there are questions, there is a draft question period to where we could go, you'll have time to review and provide some questions or feedback. So if you feel like 5 is not going to be beneficial for you all on your staff, and that 5 is 5 people within the space and 5 that will be, utilizing equipment and that kind of thing. So if you have folks on your staff that like are not necessarily coming into the office, at least not to like stay in the office to work through the office, that may not have to count against your 5. So I do know that there are districts teams who have staff who are on their staff, but they're not really in the office. They might come to the office for like a staff meeting, but as far as being able to work in the office independently or needing equipment and that kind of stuff, there are some that don't require that.
Okay.
And so that wouldn't necessarily count toward the 5.
Got it.
But you all will be able to review that. That's part of what we'll discuss and present during your district managers meeting. But there is a new template that is being updated, and we're trying to provide as much clarity as possible, especially as districts are gearing up to do more conservation work.
Okay.
And I think in general, that's about all that I have, unless there are some questions for me. Okay. We will, of course, you've seen some things that are happening with like new chief and priorities, and we're waiting on that information as well. We are waiting to receive that information. I don't see nothing to, I guess, be too alarming as it relates to our current application deadline, like no changes there, but there will be some changes going forward to help us implement the farmer first approach. So we will kind of see what that looks like, and they're rolling out some trainings that will help explain what that is to look like. So more to come there as we learn more. And that's all.
Cool.
Thank you, Felixia.
Thank you all for your patience.
Well, drive safe, get home, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So the next item in new business is proposed revision to financial policies and procedures.
So this starts on page 19. This is part of the work that I've been doing with Dave. I didn't put it as an action item because I kind of thought it might be good to talk about it a bit and give it some time for everyone to think about it, and we can revisit, because we're not in any kind of a time crunch here to get this approved. A lot of this is what Dave says is best practice. His world is in the nonprofit world, and we're not technically a nonprofit. So there's sometimes kind of pinch points that can come up there. But this would theoretically replace both our procurement policy and our existing financial policies and procedures document. It is a bit longer. And I guess some of the major changes have to do with what Dave has talked a lot about with me, is that organizations often really try to, the instinct is to overload on controls on the front end to doing regular business. Like, oh, you need 2 signatures for this, you need a board approval for this.
Yeah.
And he says like, that makes sense intuitively, but he's like, the reality is no matter how hard you try, those controls can always be evaded. And he was like, so it's a better use of energy to focus on after the fact accountability. And I wish if he was here, he would put this more articulate than me. But what he has said is he's like, he's like, if everyone who works for the organization knows that the kind of accountability that's in place is such that if there was actual fraud or abuse of systems, that it would get caught. He's like, well, people typically don't do that stuff because it's not really an incentive to do it. So a lot of this is focused on kind of getting rid of some of those front end controls that can slow us down and make us less efficient, and focusing on making sure that the accounting is really good after the fact, so that if there is something wrong, it gets caught. And so, I mean, I wish I should have made like a list of what the major changes, but I guess we could start with on page 20, it defines board of directors, and that should say board of supervisors. So there's a change for me to bring back to him.
Our acronym is also wrong.
Did he miss one? Oh yeah, WCNRD. Okay.
It's hard to work with acronyms.
So this first section just spells out what the actual duties of the board members are. So it's approve the annual operating budget, ensure the budget is in agreement with our mission, goals, and policies, oversee the organization's internal control structures, identify any areas of risk exposure and work with management to control those, review financial reports no less than 4 times per year, which we do, and determining the appropriate information to be included in those reporting packages. We get into that later in this packet. Reviewing and approving conflicts of interest, both for supervisors and for staff. Ensuring appropriate protocols are maintained for compliance with all applicable regulatory matters, and making appropriate amendments by board vote as policy procedure changes are suggested by the executive director. And then I will say a lot of stuff that we currently do at a board meeting, this would move a lot of those things to Jeff. So like if I need approval to make a purchase that's not in the budget, up to a certain dollar amount, it would be something I could take to Jeff, which would eliminate the scenario where we're sometimes waiting until the very next month to do that sort of thing. As you can see here, the list of things that fall on me is long. I can accept that, but definitely reading it or going through this together, I was like, wow, yes, I need to know what I'm doing. So basically like ensuring that we're in compliance with all the federal and state laws and regulations, making sure we're complying with elaborate grant requirements, making sure we're reporting things in a timely and accurate manner. Monthly close. So this has to do with making sure that we're following generally accepted accounting practices or principles, GAAP. And that's something Arrow and I will work together on, and Jeff should be helping us with oversight of that process as we sort of get all this up and running. Financial reporting details what will be provided to the board, which is the profit and loss statement, the balance sheet, and a year-to-date budget to actual report. So on a monthly basis, this would call for me to share all of that with Jeff, and alert Jeff to any potential concerns, particularly a variance that negatively impacts our cash reserve balance. So if I see that a grant is underperforming or we're going over on an expense and it's significant, I should be alerting Jeff to those things. And then on a quarterly basis, those things would go to the full board. Availability of books and records. Everyone on the board has the right to request any financial information you want at any time. And then this gets into chart of accounts, profits, basically how we're documenting everything. Security of financial data. Some of this is pretty straightforward to me. I guess I want to skip ahead a little bit to banking and investments, opening and closing of accounts to be approved by the board. That's consistent with our existing policy. All accounts must have at least 2 board signatories. In addition to the executive director, we currently have that. Meg and Jeff are both signatories on our account. Transfers in and out of investment accounts require board approval. We don't have any investment accounts, but we could get one at some point if we're continue to build our cash reserves. Purchasing. So this is a change. Currently, let's see. Currently it says any expense over $3,000 requires 2 signatures on the check, or if it's an electronic payment, requires an email confirmation from Jeff that says, yes, I approve the payment of this. Dave recommended we move that up to $5,000 based on the fact that our budget this year is $700,000. That's it's less than 1% of our budget. And we do routinely have bills that exceed $3,000.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think where somewhere here it differentiates between if it's an approved expense in the budget as opposed to if it's an expense. I
As
think that's
opposed to
still- if it's an expense that wasn't in the budget, then the
I see.
approval procedures are different because then we're spending money that we didn't have permission to spend. Another major change, currently the procurement process is approved by the board, or this, sorry, is selected by the board, and this would change it to selected by me. I have mixed feelings about that. Dave recommends that. It would speed us up sometimes with these projects to not have to wait for the next board meeting or schedule a special board meeting. There are times that it sort of takes me off the hook if it's a tough decision to be able to say, hey, the board met and reviewed the proposals and made a pick. Whereas opposed to me having to just say, I made a pick. So I'm
Well,
flexible on
Yeah.
that.
it doesn't say that you can't bring it to the board
Correct.
for discussions.
Yeah.
And as long as you can do that, then, and I mean, I think sometimes when you're dealing with that sort of stuff, having people, I might know something about a particular company or somebody else might,
Yeah.
and just having that shared knowledge base can be helpful. And so, I'm sure some of the procurement things are pretty cut and dried, but others, it seems to me that it would make sense to bring them to the board. The fact that you had the discretion to do that or not seems to me to be appropriate. I wouldn't want it to be where that wasn't an option, I guess.
Oh, agreed.
Where it's got to be on you and that's it.
Yeah.
And honestly, with the larger ones, it's just helpful for, at least for me, just to have a sense of what they look like and what's
Mhm.
going on.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how other people feel about that. Peter, what do you think?
I was just gonna say the same thing, thank you, as long as there's an option for you to bring it to us, I think that's.
Would it be useful to add some sort of language here that says, when possible and feasible, the executive director will
Sure.
seek the input of the board?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about some future scenario where a new person is being onboarded into my job and they read this document to try to figure out what they're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing.
No, I think some language like that, when possible or in the ED's judgment necessary, the ED will seek the discussion with the board or concurrence from the board or however you want to say it.
Sounds good. Board still approves the hire of all employees. Raises are approved by the board pursuant to the pay and benefit policy that's already in place, so that's not a change. And then, procurement, some of this is a change. There's stuff about conflict of interest, which would agree with our conflict of interest policy.
Where did-
Page 27.
Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, so for goods and services with an aggregate value of less than $15,000, provider can be selected if the price and proposal received is reasonable by the ED. That's consistent with our current policy. Under 15,000, we don't have to go through a bid process. We can if we want to.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's a great idea to go through one if we don't have a good reason not
Yeah.
to. If the value is greater than 15,000, it says that we'll work to obtain no less than 3 proposals. That's consistent with our current policy. What's new is this line about if the contract is for greater than $25,000, a simplified bid process will be undertaken. We have done that so far. I think every time we've gone to bid, I've developed a full bid proposal package that goes, that we publish in the newspaper and all that jazz.
Mhm.
No, but for that, it says no less than 3 quotes must be considered. So that means we can't. In the past, we would say, well, we requested 3 quotes. We didn't get 3 quotes. This would say we actually need 3 quotes if we're over $25,000. And then I encouraged him to add this line about sole sourcing. We have it in our current policy. That basically says if we feel that a contractor is pre-qualified either to continue an existing project or because they've completed previous projects that position them as the best provider, that we can sort of skip the bid process. Sole source exemptions must be authorized and documented by the board. Typically not approved for contracts greater than $50,000. So the most common thing there is, an engineering firm performs the preliminary design, and then we move to final design. Of course, it would make sense as long as we're satisfied with the work that we would keep working with the same provider.
Yeah.
Should there be something saying every effort should be made to obtain 3 quotes? I mean, there are circumstances in which
Really hard.
3 contractors simply aren't available to do a particular job.
And then you're asking people to make bids that you know that are inappropriate just
Right.
because you have to have 3. And that just seems like a,
Yeah, I agree. And I'm just thinking about $50,000 isn't as much money as it once was. And
Right.
that's not necessarily a giant project anymore. We might have a hard time when
Yeah.
there's sometimes only a small number of engineering firms that do this kind of work where we live.
right.
And they're often, when I reach out for quotes, I get no response from some of them. They're just too busy.
Yeah. And the same thing with the greater than 25. It's no less than 3 quotes must be considered. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, it seems like saying that every effort will be made to find 3 appropriate quotes, but
Yeah.
sometimes we just aren't going to find them, and we're not going to not do the project because we only have 2 good quotes. So, yeah, we don't want to box ourselves in that way. I don't know.
Yeah. And then there's this bit that he added that he says is best practice, regardless of contract size, that should say contract. WC NRCD will take reasonable steps to assure, whenever available, minority and women-owned businesses are included in consideration, specifically soliciting proposals from such sources, which to me seemed like a no-brainer. Any questions or thoughts about any of that procurement? There's stuff about timesheet and payroll processing that really just puts in writing how we do these things. They're not really changes. And I should point out, a lot of this has to do with an organization can receive a, what's it called, an internal controls audit, which basically is where they come in and they want to look to see if you're following the rules that you've set up for yourself. And they'll want to look at this document, and then they'll I've talked to folks who've been through one of these audits, and they'll say, oh, you made this purchase on this date, and according to your policy, you should have had approval from the treasurer. Can you please present evidence that you had approval from the treasurer? So like saving emails, that kind of stuff. There's a bit in here about restricted funds. We don't get a lot of donations. And then it's tricky, but basically like if a grant comes in and very clearly spells out how the money can be used. This says that we need to spend the money how we agreed to spend it when we accepted it. And that we are tracking how we spend the money so that we can report it back to a donor or a funder.
Beanie
Yes.
Boy.
What is QBO? I'm
Sorry, QBO is QuickBooks Online.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we've just gotten very used to that acronym because it's a lot to type for 1,000 times.
Beanie.
Now,
Settle down.
bit about things that are commonly prohibited, can't spend money on, or that we can't bill to grants. Documentation. This says that that we'll maintain an electronic copy of the backup for the transaction. That is a change for us. We have maintained paper copies thus far. We have drawers and drawers and drawers of
No, paper
copies.
Mhm.
Dave recommends we move that, not that we don't go back and digitize, because that's completely ridiculous use of time, but that moving forward, we should start to digitize all of this. And, he just made the case that he's like, you guys all intermittently work remotely and hybrid. And I was in Michigan meeting with him on my computer, and he's like, if there was a question about a bill today, he's like, how would you answer it?
Mhm.
He's like, it'd be better if these were all electronic and just look. So that's why that change was suggested.
Like it should be business or first class airfare. Thanks.
Where's
Business of first class,
We're not
things we
allowed to
can't
pay
pay for. Yeah, there are some typos I made. This is.
Seat available.
Yeah.
Only flight available. In my experience.
Eeny boy,
Okay.
settle down.
What's out there?
There must be something very scary.
Makes me think of 101 Dalmatian, or Twilight Bark.
Okay, so food and beverage for public events is,
This says the following things are commonly prohibited as use of funds. Most of our grants won't allow us to pay for food and beverage for public events.
okay,
We have to pay that out of unrestricted funds, or retained earnings.
okay, so when we run some of these meetings, though, that has to be funded out of two separate pots, okay.
Yeah.
So you could pay for first class airfare as well.
You just couldn't pay for it out of a grant. Yeah, if the board approves it. Well, want to take a trip together?
Syracuse.
Annual operating budget preparation and approval. Budget should be approved by the board each year prior to the start of the year. It's the responsibility of the executive director to draft a budget inclusive of revenue and expenses for board approval that is aligned with the mission of the organization and structured to minimize financial risk. Details may include portions of each staff time covered by each funding source and a breakdown of the proposed expense budget by activity/project. Once it's approved by the board, it'll be uploaded into QBO, QuickBooks Online. And I'll report any material variances or alterations, no less than quarterly, keeping the treasurer up to date monthly. The EDA is also to share pertinent budget details with staff to help inform allowable purchase decisions throughout the fiscal year.
Is that a change?
We've never bothered to put that in writing. We've said the budget gets approved by the board, but we haven't spelled out kind of what the budget should include. And I've always just worked off of what I inherited. We think we're the only district that's budget looks like ours. So, and I don't know if that's good or bad. It's just different. So, budget management has to do with tracking our spending and making sure that it applies to the right classes and grants and projects. Expenses. All expenses must be ordinary, necessary, and reasonable, and only incurred in connection with providing programmatic services or facilitating the growth and improvement of the organization and allocated to the appropriate budget.
How boring.
Yeah, well, and I did sort of ask about that. I'm like, well, like we bought hats recently, and he was like, I think that absolutely furthers the organization's mission. I think there's a fair amount of wiggle room there, but we can't
Ordinary, I don't know.
you can do team building activities, right? That cost me. Expense
Sort
room.
of team building activity.
What'd you say?
Was picking out
Cats
the
are a
colors.
team building activity.
As our putting together a trailer.
Yes,
Expense reimbursements. I approve expense reimbursements from staff. I can't reimburse myself. It has to go to the treasurer for approval. Insurance coverage just says that we will provide appropriate coverage for our size and operations consistent with applicable law, including but not limited to general commercial liability, workers' compensation, director and officers liability, an umbrella policy, automotive liability. We have all of those things currently. Says that annually I will review the coverage to ensure that we have the appropriate lines and levels of coverage. Compliance, 1099s, W-2s. This is all stuff we've always done. It's just never been spelled out that we will do it.
mhm.
So it's saying that we're going to follow all the appropriate things. That will make all the required reporting for state and federal compliance. QuickBooks Online does a lot of this for us now. I will say that I got an email from QBO a while ago that said, essentially, you are encouraged as a customer to check that we have filed on your behalf and that we don't accept any responsibility if we did not file on your behalf. That seems pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Also, we got a letter from the IRS. This was really fun to me. Our November of 2024 filing of our 940, which is our wage and withholding report. It says we have record that you submitted this, but we can't find it. Can you please resubmit it?
Okay.
That's
Well,
amazing to me.
Is that what happens when they cut the
I think so.
rest out?
could have something to do with it.
I had a similar thing for the AHMCC.
Really?
Well, we paid our what was it, SUT, was it? No, 990T. We paid 990T. We owed 532. We owed 520. We paid 532, and now we're getting fined and we've got to pay again and
Penalties and interest.
interest penalties, yes,
For paying too much.
for paying too much, yes.
Wow.
That's for the
That's
whole,
bizarre.
for the whole amount. I mean, it's as if our payment never happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's there, it's
That's
there on the line.
absurd.
So I think that piece of government efficiency has deteriorated.
Sounds like it. So I do think I should go back and make the changes we just discussed here and also fish out the rest of these typos. Are there other things you want me to take back to Dave?
Well, I mean, I think, I don't know about anybody else, but I would like to read this again quietly
Yeah.
and peacefully.
Mm.
Because it's pretty important and we want to be sure that it's right.
Yep.
And Linda is a wonderful proofreader and I think it would be a shame to miss her input on this.
Yeah.
So maybe we could finalize it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
It seems like there's not much to do except typos and making us supervisors instead of directors and jazz like that, but.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody should have a little more time to just go over it. Does that work for people?
That's great.
So then let's move that to something for our next meeting.
Yep.
And
Okay.
the financial policies approved by the supervisors in 2020s, just for comparisons.
Yes. So you can see what's being changed or what's being removed or added.
Yeah, and that I looked through this quickly, but I did not have time to look at the comparison wall between from myself.
Like on the procurement policy, we used to have letterhead. I wonder where that letterhead lives.
Isabel tore through
The
the ones in
letterhead.
class today.
We have different letterhead. I've never seen that one before. That's the only place
It
I've
was
seen
one
it.
on the bottom.
Page 37 and 8, yeah.
Yeah, I
It's got the VACD logo.
did used to use it before.
A lot of people still do. Oh, and our address says it's 128, which is wrong. Okay.
Was that the first?
Right.
No, it's still very.
128 Vernon Street. I'm Googling. I don't know where it is. What is it now? Or what is it?
28 Vernon Street.
Oh, that's probably just a typo.
Yeah.
Suggesting Manchester, Connecticut.
That would be confusing. All right, so any other questions or concerns about this at this point? Okay, so then we have added to the new business accepting the AmeriCorps award.
So I did submit a proposal or an application to the AmeriCorps program, which they opened later this year. Because there was so much uncertainty around the program. It would start in January and run January to December, which could be really exciting because it would align so much better with our field season. The match is up a little bit. I think it's 11,000.
And what was it this
You
time?
might know this. Yeah, I remember it was 10 something last year. So anyway, we were notified Monday that we had been awarded an AmeriCorps, and we have to tell them by Thursday if we want it.
As of tomorrow.
Yes. That was quite a timeline. So because the match wasn't in our budget, I think it does take a board action for us to decide to spend that $11,000. We finished the year with $71,393 and change sort of left in the bank. We have about 5,600 is what our balance on our budget is to the good. So if we didn't get any more grants, if nothing worked out, in our favor that we didn't expect, we would end up spending down $5,400 or so of that 71,000 that we've sort of held on to. And I guess my recommendation is that I think it's worth it. I think we really benefited from Garrett. I think I really, really wish we could add a full-time staff person right now, but we don't have the money for it. And this is a pretty good halfway step that's a lot cheaper.
Do you have a particular task in mind for this person yet?
Yep. So I had to write a proposal for AmeriCorps. It's very similar to Garrett's, but the HCB is emphasizing organizational capacity in this round because they know that it's something that's been hit a lot of places. And so I did just sort of build in that there would be more time in the field, more going out and doing water adjustment polls, more going out and helping with soil sampling, more planting trees, and
Well, what he's after.
something out there. So I provided Garrett a lot of like freedom to kind of pursue what interested him, and there were ways that really benefited us. But I do think if we do this again for another year, that it will be a little bit more like we need to do in this, and this.
Yeah.
AmeriCorps was pretty strict about not wanting them doing any like core functions. And I interpret the fact that they're selling it as organizational capacity is the number one thing here means that they're going to be less strict about that.
In the past, they have allowed our VHCB members to do normal staff type stuff because it allows us extra capacity
Right.
for other people. Like Sam did some monitoring of conservation easements that Jennifer would normally do, but that opened Jennifer up to be able to do more new project
Right.
work.
Right.
So there's definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I think I got a little too spooked by the training about allowable and activities and all that, and was kind of like, well, I guess you can't do all these things. And I think in hindsight, they have to. It's sort of the purpose of getting one of these positions.
The idea, if there's too much for May or any of you to do, then that person can pitch it.
Right. Yeah. So the other thing is just that if NRCS really digs in their heels on the 5 people, we will have to have a place to put this person. And I didn't really want to bring that up tonight with Lexi because she has a tendency to say no to things like that when you and there's a few different ways we can get around it. I mean, they've never stopped us from having people in the office as long as they're supervised. I don't think that we would really want to go through an entire 11-month placement where someone always has to babysit them. Like Garrett needed that for the first 6 weeks.
It was hard.
It was more than 6 weeks.
Yeah, okay. Because the background check process took so long.
Right.
So I don't think we want to try to go through an entire 11-month placement, not ever having them able to just come in when they want to come in. But I mean, what Flixie said tonight about, well, you're 5 people, like, I'm wondering, like, should Arrow count against our 5 people? You don't have any government equipment.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So,
I come in the office.
what, 2 days a week?
1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Depending on the week.
In May, you typically don't work in the office unless we have a meeting or something.
but she's taking equipment.
You do have equipment.
Right.
Right, but I'm wondering if there's a way to work this out with
Oh,
NRCS that like our combined imprint
You have a
is
total-
still, like
yeah.
I'm in the office 1-ish days a week, right? I pop in and out a lot, but
Yeah.
Monday afternoon is the only time I'm there sustained. So we're not using up 5 people 5 days a week.
It's
So I'm
like
hoping that they're gonna,
5, equivalent of 5 people total.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's, I guess, my first tact to try to navigate that. It's tough because, and it sounds like there's gonna be a point where we can comment on the proposed thing. We definitely should, because,
Yeah.
you know, we're talking, there's conversations about an RCPP that we might hire a forester. I think NRCS really wants us to do that, but they gotta provide us with,
A space.
yeah. And it can't just be here, shuffle another person in your little office. Like, that's crazy.
Is the office like feel really full or?
It's more full than it used to be because everyone's been forced back to the office, but it's still pretty quiet a lot
But
of
they're adding
days.
another Emma.
Yeah.
We just heard about it. So
Yeah.
who knows what else they're gonna do.
There's no one from rural development in the office at all.
In fact, they took the printer the other day.
Really?
Yeah, they came in and took the rural development printer.
Okay.
So
But in the elevator, it says to contact Alex.
I was gonna say, who put that up? Because it definitely wasn't us and it's wrong.
Yeah, Heather fielded a very upset caller about rural development.
Development, we just ended up there. My
Mine
God.
started there because they do the dial tone. They got to our office and I pick it up and the person's like livid that they can't talk to rural development. I was like, that's not me.
Right.
Here's the phone number, and then they call me back to say that's the wrong phone number. I was like, I'm still the wrong person. So it's fun.
Bye.
Peter, is VLT doing an AmeriCorps again, or you're doing 2?
Ooh. Ooh.
Is Sam eligible to do that again?
She is.
Okay.
I still haven't heard whether she's coming back.
Okay.
But should start again in January.
Yep.
Well,
And
so
we're-
that's long.
Yeah, we've been long wanting to have one up north.
Okay.
What I mean is like within a mile of the Canadian border, so. we
Which
have-
side?
Not for now on this side. We have an office up there in Newport and, so that position will come with housing, which is pretty.
How, who's providing that?
We are.
You-
It's on our property.
Oh,
We
wow.
own a property with an office and, 2 offices and an apartment, so.
I mean, yours has an apartment now, doesn't it? But
They
like,
don't own.
No, we have more office space upstairs because there are folks upstairs.
Is there a
Yeah.
zoning restriction? You couldn't turn it into an apartment?
There's nothing, there's no kitchen,
Oh,
there's,
Mm.
yeah, it wouldn't really work.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to cook in a microwave all the time.
I'm thinking like more of like a sketchy, like hot pot like you had in college.
Well, good for you. That's great.
I'm so excited the program is continuing.
Yeah.
And as I'm blanking on his name, the executive director of VHCB,
Gus.
As Gus said at the end of season celebration, he's like, this went to court and was litigated, and we know they can't cancel it. Congress has appropriated these funds, so he's like, we feel very confident doing another season of this at this point.
You're gonna have the cash flow to pay this person, are you?
We think so. The cash flows that remained daunting at times. That's in my update, or our updates, but we got our egg seal payment, which is a big one, and so all the bills have been paid, and we're no longer juggling quite so much as we were all summer. We'll have to make a decision once again about this grant and aid award. That's what has caused a big part of us just struggling with cash flow, is we have to pay all of this seasonal staff for this. It's so many people working so many hours, and our payroll is $19,000 every 2 weeks for the summer. That's a lot of money for a small organization.
Right.
It didn't used to be anywhere near that. So, and then we get most of that money in January. We never know. We never know when DEC will get around to paying us the second half, 60% that comes at the end. So we could, we had a conversation before the season with Kim Jensen from DEC, and she said, you could do this as a contractor instead of a grantee, and you'd get paid every 2 weeks or however the structure would be. But she's like, there are really strict rules on what they will and won't pay for a contractor. They'll only pay for time on the water, for the water chestnut removal. So none of Isabel's time coordinating the program, not even driving to and from the water, certainly not assembling a trailer, which hopefully we never do again. But so I just made the decision that was just not practical for the way our books are set up. If we had more core funding, right? If we as an organization had multiple positions that were just inherently funded before we got into grants, that would probably be a better way for us to go.
You know how Hillary does it? She
That's
does
how she
that
does it.
option.
Yep.
But like, how does she pay for the
Don't know.
randoms?
At some point I should chat with her about that. I'm going to see her soon. So
Yeah, I run into her enough to be like, how do you do all those
And it's-
awesome things?
and their operation's quite a bit. Their water chestnut operation's quite a bit bigger because it's on the lake.
Yeah, it's huge.
But it's a different scale problem. But
Yeah.
questions, thoughts?
I mean, it seems to me that we would be foolish not to have, our AmeriCorps experience with Garrett was great. We had another one some years ago.
Okay.
Whose
We
name
planted trees because someone told me that we planted trees for them. I was like, okay. And they were like, it was in AmeriCorps. I was like, great. I don't know.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago. And again, it seemed like we got our money's worth in this.
Yeah.
It was my sense. And so I think we're talking about a rather modest amount of money for a pretty significant amount of labor. So
Yeah.
all we need is a good one.
I would think it will be highly competitive because no one's hiring.
Yeah.
Market's pretty bad if you work with the enviros. But
Lots of people are looking.
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah. So, I presume in this case, we should,
Do we want more light? People
Bring
have
the
more
bugs.
light?
okay, so far.
Okay, right, so.
So I believe we should probably entertain a motion to accept the AmeriCorps award.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor, opposed? Okay, we are officially accepting our AmeriCorps award. Bravo. All righty. Annual gathering planning.
Annual celebration.
Where is that?
I didn't correct it out of the agenda. Ah, shoot.
So everyone, mark your calendars, Wednesday, October 29th, up at Rockingham Hill Farm. we are gonna have our celebration, starting at 6 p.m. The
Where is it again?
Rockingham Hill Farm. They are not a farm.
I say, which looks like a farm, but it's not a farm.
Uh, so 6 p.m. doors will open. We will greet guests. We will have a dinner of some fashion. I need a budget. I'm reaching out to everyone left and right. I've gotten 2 people to respond to me. One person, they're like, what's your, like, we had a great conversation. And she's like, what's your budget? I said 2,000, I think is probably what you all would be okay with.
We spent about 3 last year with,
Okay.
Porch.
the porch, thank you.
Okay,
So
so I can go up a little bit more.
I think so. I
Okay.
think and the porch was tricky because they, as you remember, they never really wanted to say like, it's this much. They were just like, here's the menu, get what you want.
Right,
Which was hard because we were like trying to figure out what's enough food.
right.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was
Wedding
lovely.
planning.
Yeah.
They're catering my wedding. Yeah, it was the same thing.
yeah.
The food will be good.
Yeah,
Yes, I know, but
So I'm chatting with one woman. It's just her and her husband, and they have a big brunch the Sunday before and a big wedding the next Saturday. So she's 50-50. And then Maple something just reached out and said they need a little bit more information for me. Which I hope that's hopeful because everyone else is like, we're booked, we're done, or whatever. So that's my scare at the moment, but there'll be a great dinner. It'll be awesome.
Nothing from the hog roast people?
No.
Okay. Heather explored a pig roast, which would have been so cool.
ooh.
So if you know anyone with a pig and a spit, you can do it. Dinner. We don't have a keynote speaker unless somebody is like, I have somebody ready to go for free, or extremely cheap. We can do it. We have striked out left and right with pursuing the ones who we thought would pull a crowd and make our money's worth of it. So
What is it?
I'm sorry.
Speaker for the.
Yeah.
Oh, guest speaker.
Yeah, like a keynote speaker.
Oh.
But we've shifted away. So Garrett made a fabulous video that we just discovered earlier this week on our YouTube page. So we think we'll show that. The district we'll give our spiel, present, highlight some awesome accomplishments that we've made. And then starting at 8 p.m., May has an amazing connection with Mel Mays, who's a psychedelic Latino band. Yeah. Okay. I want to make sure I'm hitting all the marks on them. And we're going to have a concert afterwards from 8 to 9:30. The dessert is going to be s'mores. So we're going to have a fire.
Oh, rains between now and then.
Yes.
What'd you say?
I didn't think about that.
Rains between now and then.
It's to rain Sunday. Cancel our water adjustment.
I do. Oh,
If it's still a burn ban in place.
Didn't think about that one. Thank you. S'mores potentially. There's going to
I've
be.
made them in the oven before. We can work it out.
You can also. There was a great place in high school that you could order s'mores. Yep, it's great. So we'll make it work. But that's that. It's gonna be a costume contest.
Because it's October 29th,
Yeah.
so, and the venue's already gonna be decorated for Halloween
Yeah.
from the previous event,
Yeah.
so we won't have to decorate.
Yep.
And there's at least 3 of us coming in costumes.
Yeah.
So you were all.
You already planned your costume?
I am
Okay.
going to be so brass. I'm ready.
That's truly scary. I think our thinking is sort of as it's shifted is like, let's just make this like a really fun celebration night. And maybe we pull in a lot of people who don't know about the district. Maybe they're drawn by this band or a party with costume and good food. So it'll have a little bit different kind of vibe than we've had the last 2 years, I guess. I think kind of the outstanding questions are, do we want to present a conservation award like we've done in the past? And if we do, we need to figure out who that is. And then do we want to charge anything? And if we do we do anything for like farmers? Do we say, like, we had a few ideas because we were discussing maybe $45 a person because
Yeah.
between dinner and this band,
It's worth it. It's like, yeah, you can get food and music And I just want to emphasize this is a pretty famous band. What's the band? Malmais. They're, how do you spell it? It's MAL and then MAIZ.
Means bad corn. It was low.
Yeah, yeah, and the full
I
name
know
is
it's there.
Sonido Malmais, but no,
Only that.
yeah. Yeah, anyway, I think we're lucky to have them.
Pretty cheaply.
He still has to verify that one of the band members can do it because he's a teacher
And it's a school night.
and it's a school night.
What does he teach?
Edmonton, is that the word?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Like in Canada?
I was about to say.
I don't
Canada?
remember.
You're great. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought Edmonton was down in Alberta.
Right.
That's a long way.
Like holding the date. And just
Okay.
would love to do it.
Okay.
And you think that there are people who will come just to see this band.
Yeah.
So
I mentioned it to Karen from White River NRCD and she's like, Mom, I used to play. I'm coming to that.
Oops,
So
sorry.
there you go.
I was gonna look them up.
okay.
Yeah, as a person who attends it, I know about
Okay.
So we had previously talked about not wanting to create a barrier to folks that have maybe, we don't want folks to feel like they can't come.
Right.
And then I was like, well, because in the past we were like, hey, just email us if cost is a concern. No one did that. I could see how people don't feel comfortable doing it.
Right.
So I'm like, do we email?
Sliding scale or?
We could do that. That's what Heather suggested. And my other idea was, do we email, like, we have a farmer list that Heather maintains. Do we email that list and say, because, we want to recognize the critical work you do in our community to feed our community and care for the land. We're giving you free admission, like, as like an acknowledgement, not as charity.
That's, I like that. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
There is 100-person max in this.
On space, right?
Right,
Yeah.
so that's the other, inside or for dinner. And like, we had talked about, like, do we just, I think we all mixed it, but like, maybe we could get more people for the concert and like, that's different thing, I don't know. We can make this really complicated.
Mm.
And then also like children, like, does everybody need a ticket? Kids under 10, free, or what? Because we do want to, it is a family-friendly event,
Right.
which, we should have advertised better last year. So
Although I don't think you're gonna, well, I don't think you're gonna get a ton of kids.
No,
on a
exactly.
School night,
I
but
just had a lot of people reach out last year asking if they could, and I know, your son was the only one who did end up coming. But, I still don't want so many people having.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would think kids under 10, under 8, I don't know what the line is.
So what age do they start eating a lot?
Yeah,
of food?
right.
Oh, don't go there.
Yeah.
If you think 2 years back, we had a couple little people who were wiping out the dessert.
The Tito's. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Oh, that family, though, yeah.
And they were quite small.
They were, yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Not that I begrudge them the cookies, but
Yeah.
So the main things that we have to be concerned about are a speaker if we want one, and a conservation award if
Yeah.
we want one.
And then if you have any input on this, tickets.
Yeah.
How can we, is it easy, I don't know, Corey knows, to check, like, I'm this person, here's my ticket, or would they just have to come up and show us the ticket or something?
We
Last year, I don't think. I
didn't
remember
check
seeing
it. Turns out.
anything.
We could put somebody at the door with the registration list, and people are gonna laugh at who they are, right?
No, I was just wondering. I was like, I don't think we did that last year.
Yeah, we
We
did.
got it.
No, but you're right, for the concert, people might.
Yeah.
But if we've got, if we've got like people that we have worked with as, that are then being given free
Mhm.
admission, then we probably should have somebody checking.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of great ideas. I it would be nice to have some kind of speaker, but not necessarily something long-winded.
Yeah.
And that's the issue.
Yeah.
Or not issue, that's the challenge.
Right.
Is that nobody what is willing to come for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to travel for most people.
Exactly. We have to pay for travel, lodging, and then their speaker,
Right,
is what we're running into.
yeah, which gets to be a lot.
Right. And so next year, we can start planning this in December and
Right.
getting somebody, like, if the
Yeah.
speaker is what's important to all of us, like,
Yeah.
then we can make that a priority and try harder. But yeah, this is just what the second
Yeah.
year we've run into this.
Could I ask who were some of the ones you tried?
Yeah, Alexis Nelson, she's internet famous, and she's the Black Forager. She's incredibly knowledgeable
Yeah.
on native species. And then we did look into your friend.
My friend.
Side.
Oh, Simon
Hey,
Company.
did you reach out to say that really?
No, I
No,
thought you did.
you reach out.
That was for Audubon.
Oh, okay, okay,
Well,
okay.
say-
But we got, yeah, you were on that email.
Right, yeah,
Like,
No, I wasn't.
Okay, we can talk about it.
yeah. So, I missed that it wasn't for
Yeah,
Got it.
us.
yeah, and having it for two things in
Yeah.
town probably wouldn't make a lot of sense anyway.
Well, no, but that's what, so last year when we tried to reach out to the woman who wrote Beaverland, they said to do that to get, because we would have had to make it
Yeah.
worth it, because then they're like, you can share the cost with so-and-so, you can
Right, yeah,
split it more ways, make it like have a tour.
yeah, but Cy lives like an hour away in Peterborough.
Right,
It's,
The travel
it's not like somebody flying from the other side of the
yeah,
country.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
On the topic of a conservation award, does anybody have an idea?
Isabel, for removing all those invasives.
I feel like that would look a little weird. Give it to your own. Or does the costume contest winner just get a huge, exciting moment?
You know, we talked about this in a staff meeting and folks asked about Linda.
Yeah.
We're going, at some point, we're going to do something big for Linda. I think I just struggle with when is the right moment to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want her to think it's time to retire.
There's that.
and that's why we can't do Isabel as well, May. We don't want Isabel to retire.
Yeah, walking the wetlands and then. My retirement.
Hiring as a ball witch.
Red.
See, I was thinking more
Anytime.
old Greg.
Oh, no.
I think at one point we mentioned Marie.
Oh, yeah.
I know that she's got
It
it.
sounds like it wouldn't work right now.
I just thought this would be a bad year. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's doing some stuff. And she's got at least one more year. She would be good to acknowledge before she goes.
Oh, utterly.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
Which I think should be.
We can get connected there next week.
I didn't hear that.
Rich Earth
Rich
Institute.
Earth Institute.
Oh, yeah, I can ask. I'm harvesting corn for their research. I'm taking a day off
To do that.
To get paid.
to get paid
Oh,
for
okay.
that.
Nice.
Well, that would be an interesting one to acknowledge the organization rather than necessarily a specific person.
Yeah.
That's cool take.
So that seems like a possibility. I don't know, I'm a little brain dead tonight, so I'm not having any other ideas, but.
Yeah, if anything occurs to anybody, just reach out.
Okay, well, is there anything else that you need from us at this point, other than money? Well, you were saying,
Spending 2,000.
you were saying you needed a budget number.
Yeah, which I now, have a good idea of.
Okay.
No, all good.
Um,
Do we want to do, unless you're Did we do desserts last year? Did we?
So,
You guys brought.
yeah, everyone brought, but I think we're just gonna do s'mores.
S'mores, got it. Yep.
Something we have not talked about is the silent auction.
Yeah, that's true. We could talk about that in October.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it worth the trouble last time?
So what I'm personally feeling is I do not want to be the one to reach out to businesses after I worked
Just doing
really
that,
hard.
yeah.
And I was like, we only ask once a year. And for me to go back out and be like, I mean, twice a year, every year. Like, I don't know. I feel weird doing that. So I would not want my name or really our organization doing that. But I know that you had your connection to Agway. Other people like Olivia did those birdhouses. Garrett, like I know we had like a lot
Emma
of
made little ornaments.
Yeah,
'Cause
like-
we bought those.
right. Yeah, I know that they were like a lot of our organization's things.
Right.
Writing lessons.
Yeah. So I would feel more
Free-
comfortable doing that. Oh, yeah.
Civic notification thing or? I offered a bird walk. That person has not contacted me to actually take their bird walk.
It's funny. Print it.
Well,
So
person that bought the riding lesson hasn't either.
Really?
I think, I'm thinking it's just been crazy busy. It's been a weird year.
she was willing to come in person after being in Colchester today. And she lives in Rutland.
Yeah.
So she, is a while.
So yes, I'm thinking I need to contact her and
Yeah.
say, you know,
I'll tell her. So
Yeah.
take a half day next time she comes to the office or something.
yeah,
So yeah, so I like the idea of us doing more in-house things, but I will not be reaching out to businesses.
That's reasonable.
did we make much money on it?
I'd have to look.
Do you guys
If
just wanna
I-
do a raffle instead?
Oh,
We
yeah.
could do a raffle.
That's more easier.
Yeah.
We'd have the tickets already.
Yeah, you just.
Yeah, we can like conglomerate all of our things, yeah.
And we have district swag already.
The lunchbox.
Lunchbox, I forgot. Yeah.
Cause yeah, there wasn't like there was a bidding war on any items last year.
Yeah.
Right. That's when the silent auction becomes profitable.
Right.
Yeah. And I think we knew almost, well, you knew the guy you did the tree ID for. And you know the birder. I don't know. I think we knew everyone who got. stuff.
Okay, well, three of us
Okay.
never did the thing. Maybe it's not like three offerings.
Yeah. But yeah, okay.
All right, so, if there's nothing else we have to do on that, let's move on to the update on federal funding and policies.
I don't have anything new.
Does anyone?
It's not here and Flixie is not here, so. I'm guessing no.
Easy.
Well, let's move on to, strategic planning update.
So yeah, just a reminder that it is next Tuesday from 5 to 8 PM at Vernon Elementary School. We talked briefly at the last meeting about I was gonna try to cater it and folks were like, well, we should do a potluck. I wanted to bring that back up again to see how everyone felt about that. I could still try to get food from somewhere local if it's easier to not have to bring something. If everyone feels okay about bringing a dish, we can do that. I'm fine either way. I don't know how busy everyone is and if that's a huge hardship to like have to put something together on a Tuesday.
Is this like a board only thing?
No.
Nope, we're against that.
I love catered.
Yeah,
That's because I'm doing a potluck tomorrow.
okay, I vote catered.
Oh, yeah, literally, you're next to me.
We're all doing
Three of us are
different
going.
LT.
Yeah, well, I'll just do different ones, we'll.
Oh, you're coming.
The
to
three
this
of us
thing,
are all
okay.
doing all three
Oh,
offers.
It's so exciting. It's down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Michelle from VACD reached out to be like, hey, can someone from your district go? Like we want to make sure we're representing. I'm like, oh, we're all going.
Who's doing what?
During the Whetstone one.
We're going to the Riverstone Preserve.
Nice.
I'm doing the retreat one.
Ah, excellent. Yeah.
Okay, so we are not gonna have to bring stuff? Is that the
I can, yeah.
consensus? I mean, I'm willing to, but if it's a nuisance for everybody else, I'm not taking on catering the whole thing. So,
I wanted a preference. So I said my preference.
Well,
Yeah, I was like, where is the verdict?
Isabel's like, I'm waiting.
Like, I'm hearing it.
Somebody tell me what I hear.
Now,
Hoping Guilford Country Store is still available because they're right down the road.
I do the other thing.
They do good stuff.
The best.
They marry them to her, like.
Plant.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Someone else. will do this.
Okay, well, that sounds lovely. Okay, so nothing else on that. Nothing else on that?
He says Vernon, it's the elementary school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we have to meet somewhere to be let in.
No,
What?
No, okay.
no, it'll be open.
Okay.
So we should park.
I don't know. I
That
thought
was
we
in the middle of the summer. That
had-
was-
that's why, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, we had to do something weird last time. That was it.
And we were coming from the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's not anywhere special you have to park, none of that stuff. Okay, fine. All right, monthly report on district activities.
So, yeah. No other questions about
We
it?
did things.
Yeah, you always do lots of things.
You're really not on it?
Yeah,
I feel
also,
terrible
I'm
for
not
this.
on the steering committee tomorrow either.
Jeez. How did I do that? Okay, I'm going to do both.
Date is the event. Which one? The steering committee is, nope, sorry.
Oh, no, not.
Other one,
Yeah,
16.
The 16th.
16, 5 to 8. Whatever that is, I don't think I have it there.
Okay. I must have missed some things when I set that up.
Oh, wait, is that, yeah, no, I don't have it. I don't see it on yours.
I think you didn't send out a calendar invite. Like, I personally put mine in.
Oh, I only put the board on the calendar invite.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, mine
Sorry
says
about that.
no
I didn't put any of you
details.
guys on it. I told you about it at some point.
Okay,
Sorry
so
about
we
that.
should copy yours.
I will send it to you. So
Okay.
you can have it on your calendars.
Is there anything you wanted to highlight on that or
No,
anything
I-
anybody has questions about?
Covered the main stuff already. We finally got paid for our egg sea whip and also White River, before we sent the letter, White River, notified us that they are going to pay our invoice. They said they have not been paid yet, but we're going to go ahead and process your invoice, is what the email said. I have a theory, so I did reach out to Claire, just about cash flow in general, and I mentioned that, these are the invoices we're waiting on, and Claire shared that shall. Which is good.
Which is good.
Kudos to Michelle in general for, having me telling her, hey, I'm worried about cash flow, and Claire right away got on figuring out the egg sea whip thing, but Michelle was like, oh, she's like, normally we have a lot of things we invoice quarterly. And so nothing's due until the end of September. And Michelle was like, invoice me right now for everything you've got. And she's like, we don't want you having cash flow problems. We'll just get you paid, which I really appreciated. That was her approach.
Great. Hallelujah.
Right.
So you didn't send the letter?
We did not send it. No. I know Jeff signed a letter and it was all good to go. And then I held off for a few days because I was trying to figure out if there was any other way than starting what I thought might have been an ugly exchange. It got resolved.
Fantastic.
Birding on the farm thing at the retreat, when is that?
Yep. Next
Tuesday morning. 8.
8 to 10. It's on Peter's calendar.
Where are you going?
The water.
Where there used to be those lovely trails that got wiped out. I mean, when all that got wiped out by the flooding. But that area used to be really good.
He says that a lot of people just park off the side of the road there.
Yeah.
And, there's 2 nesting bald eagles, osprey.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm hoping to walk that field now.
yeah, we can do whatever we want. Yeah, yeah.
The issue will be, I hadn't thought this through until just now, but if we get a lot of people, you gotta be careful about the road. I didn't have any people walk.
Yeah.
Because we're often on some back roads, fine, right? We usually walk down the road.
Yeah.
Not so much on Route 30.
What's the best to check? So there's 3, so you just gotta. 3 people will be okay.
Yeah.
So,
Is Peter coming tomorrow? Peter join? I mean, not tomorrow, sorry, Tuesday. I'm already thinking ahead.
Oh, he said it's on his calendar. He's gonna try. I'm hoping.
Okay, so any other questions or concerns about the monthly report of district activities? No, okay. Secretary's report. Approved minutes from August. 20th.
Katie, do we have minutes?
Oh, sorry, I will do that tomorrow or.
Okay, we will have to put that off till next time then. Upcoming supervisor meeting dates. The next one that we seem to have scheduled is for the 8th.
That's too many important meetings.
The 8th is a Wednesday. Does that still work for people?
Am I right about that? Is it the second Wednesday of the month in theory?
Period, for some reason, I don't know.
Well, we hadn't actually formally scheduled it.
Used to be
Always the same.
occasionally it was.
Yeah.
Seven. Yeah.
Okay, does the 8th work for people?
Yep.
That'll be. Jeff, are you prepared to host again?
Oh, sure.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for doing that so consistently.
One more nice night will be amazing.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm disappointed the moon hasn't appeared yet.
But there
Should be
were
soon.
bats.
It's been crazy lately.
I know, I saw the bats too. It was so cool. There were several bats up there.
Yeah, the moon was so bright the other night. I was
Yeah.
blown away.
Was that Sunday night?
No.
For several nights. Oh,
It's the
There've been
6th and the
several of them.
I can tell you, I did not win my cousin's baby shower raffle. Did not have her baby on the pole.
Oh, nice. I just
I'm
remember Sunday night, I think, was the full moon and it was also like a romance concert. And it was like,
Wow, find that.
you really mentioned also, yeah.
we went camping Friday night and it was, you didn't need a night, like a flashlight at night.
Wow.
Okay, so we're okay for the 8th. Any other business?
Peter, you have a VLT cooler and your dish. Is maybe
Oh, right.
and hat.
We have hats for people who didn't get them yet.
Yes. So I think that's Katie and Peter.
We have to make this
Thank you for bringing it.
version of what.
Forgot about that.
Linda.
Thank you.
And she's not.
Wait,
That's it.
where are they?
Right
They're over there, but it's gonna be, yeah, oh, May's got.
Oh, wow.
We should
But we
really.
can adjourn.
think should
So,
go.
This is clearly district.
If there is no other business,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
We don't have an executive session.
You can't second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tell in the dark.
Very good. Thank you, May.
All right.